Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Special Experience Podcast. I'm your host, Josh McCoy. Alongside me is, again, my co-host, Aiden Swanson, the greatest punter in the ACC and my best friend. And today, joining us on episode 2 is University of Penn, Ivy League, not Penn State, running back Chandler Magruder. We went to IMG with Chandler, one of the hardest working and smartest people I've ever met in my life. Chandler, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good out here in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, so
Enjoy.
your season was canceled. How have you been affected by all of the COVID-19 mess?
So we're at home doing virtual lists, virtual practice. Oh, and not really practice, but like agility work, things like that. Virtual lifts. So that was good. I was able to actually get a little in-home gym because of all the COVID things, and we set up our camera and we hop on a Zoom. Our coach is there. He's coaching us up. I got to be a little more careful because I don't have a spotter, and benching and squatting can sometimes be dangerous when you don't have a spotter. But I mean, we've been doing well, man. I'm just training like next season we have a season. Whenever that season is, I'm training like next week there's a season. Just training my hardest to be the best that I can possibly be and go in my freshman year and really get some playing time, get an invitation.
Wait, so you would set up your Zoom with your coach, but would the coach be like one-on-one with you, or would he be like Zooming 30 other guys on the team?
Yeah, so it's open to anybody on the team who wants to join it. Usually, we only have about like 9 or 10 guys who are on there, and so it's usually just him, and he's just watching us do it. 9 or 10 guys coaching us up as he comes around, and y'all know because y'all are in college. But let me tell you something. Difference between IMG and college is that a 2 hour workout is a 1 hour workout now. The pace of how we lift is crazily fast.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
So you're literally doing Zoom workouts with your strength coach.
Yes.
That is insane. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely making the best out of the situation that we have.
Yeah. So how are you staying motivated in this time of awkwardness and the Zoomness?
Right. I mean, I'm staying motivated just because of the things that I want to do. Like I want to go to pre-med, and pre-med require. I mean pre-med. I want to go to med school. I'm on the pre-med track. That requires you to have good grades. So whether I'm at home or at school, I still need to have good grades. I want to get in the rotation, and I want to get playing time my freshman year. That allows me. That means that I have to work out and I have to hone my craft. So whether I'm in Philly or I'm at home, I still have to do those things. So it's it's really not like super hard for me to stay motivated because even of those times where maybe like my motivation is down, I just remember like, hey, you want to go to med school, tighten up, or you want to get in the rotation, tighten up. So
Yeah. I mean that's really interesting because it's just so awkward in the Zoom time. I know in my classes and stuff, sometimes it's hard to keep paying attention and not get on your phone and other
right,
things like that. It's just the online. I can't even imagine online football. That would blow my mind.
right.
And I think a lot of people get the impression that from you that, oh, he's an athlete, so he doesn't meet up to the standards of a regular Penn student. And I think that's where most people are wrong. You most likely would have gotten into Penn without football. Um, you're an insanely smart guy. You speak Mandarin. It's just you are one of the smartest people I think I've ever met in my life, and it's just truly amazing to see you go beyond just football and really keep the goals in pre med in mind.
Yeah, the craziest thing is like I feel like it's interesting what some people don't understand about the Ivy League and how that process works is like you can come to the Ivy League and say like, hey, like the coaches can come to the administrative and be like, hey, we want this guy, right? And the administrative people will be like, okay, and they'll be like, okay, if he can get in, you know. I do think that obviously, playing football does have its perks and in the admissions process, but it's not that deep. You still have to, you literally still have to pass all of the requirements to still get in. It doesn't give you probably a little bit of an advantage, yes, But when it comes to the academia part of it, I think honestly it's on par as much as some of the other students. You know, we have busy days, even like not as busy since we're not on campus, but as I've heard, like even busier days when we do get on campus. And so it's even the fact of just like juggling all of those. It's one of the things where they give you advice when you go to Penn. Don't have your classes back to back. Have gaps in between. But as a student athlete, we have workouts from 2 to 6. That's football time, strictly football time, right? And that's not even including like the meetings that we have, right? And so it's like, well, I don't have all that time to take classes from 2 to 6. I have to take all my classes before 2. So it's like a 7 to 2 window that I have to take classes. So like, yeah, I'm gonna have some classes that are back to back. Like on Thursdays, I literally have classes from 8 to 1:30 nonstop.
Jeez. I mean,
Yeah.
so what advice would you give a high school student or a potential college athlete on how to balance that especially the pre-med route, but school in general, how to balance school and football?
Right. Um, so what I would say is I say get organized. Get organized. I needed to write down my whole schedule, where everything was happening on a whiteboard. I needed to see everything, right? At the beginning of the year, they give you a syllabus. You literally know every single thing, every single week, what's happening, what you're going over. At the beginning of the week, what I like to do is I like to write down my objectives. I like to say, okay, I need to watch these lectures. I need to study these classes. I need to do these homeworks. And I know what I need to do throughout the whole week so that when it comes to each day, I just pick and choose, okay, we're doing these 3 things today. We're doing these 4 things today. I wrote those down on a post-it note, and it's like you can get them done at whatever time is your convenience is, but just get them done. That's how I do it. If it needs to be more scheduled, I'm gonna get this done at 12. I'm gonna get this next class done at 1. Like, do what you need to do. But I honestly think that if you have your week planned out and then plan out your days, honestly, that's the best way to stay organized for the day-to-day rigors that you're gonna go through as a student athlete,
Yeah,
especially on the pre-med route.
real fast before Aiden gets to his next question, what I do is I have sticky notes and I write down on sticky notes. I put it on the mirror. If I don't get something done, I'm doing this first thing in the morning.
Right.
That's just what I do in general. Aiden?
Yeah, I really don't. People don't realize how like packed our day is, especially as an athlete. Personally, like, I mean, I just got home like 20 minutes ago from being up at 6 a.m. lift and then having a full day until like 8:30, and I really don't have time to do homeworks and stuff until I get home at night. So I think that's one of the things people really can't like comprehend is how busy we are with our schedule. Leading into our next question, Chandler, tell us a little bit about life before IMG and then life during IMG.
Right. Life before IMG was like high school wise was kind of short. I went there my second semester of my freshman year, but I went to a small private school. You know, met a lot of guys, brothers for life, had fun. The opportunity. There was more opportunity in other places just because of the team dynamic, and I decided to go to IMG Academy. I was really only supposed to go for like a semester. At first, I was only gonna go for a camp, but then they convinced me to come down for a semester. So I was like, okay, I want to do that. And I came down for a semester, and I was like, you know what? I want to play a season with these guys. Like IMG is kind of lit. Like I want to play a season with these guys, right? And then after I got into the season of it, and I was realizing like, yo, this is a brotherhood. Like what we're doing right now, like the brotherhood outside of IMG. I was like, I want to be a part of that. And so I tell the story all the time, but I was like, I want to be a part of that. And my parents, they talked to school talked to them. They're like, okay, you can be a part. Like you can stay at IMG, you have to get to the blue team, right? So I was like that. So white team, I was doing my best. I think I scored like once every game. If not that game, I scored like twice in the other one. So like where we had like 10 games, so I was like at least 10 touchdowns for the season. Like we were running up our stats on the white team. We was working in practice. When we got our chances to practice with the blue team, like I was just doing my best in the weight room, in the classroom, on the field to really make it to the blue team. But come that December time, it wasn't looking so good. I had to go home, right? So I went home for a week, and I was mad. I was stupid sad because I was like, man, I worked this hard. I was really trying. I didn't get to the blue team. I went to a public school for a week until Coach Wright called me, and he was like, Chandler, how would you what would you say if I told you that we have a spot for you here on the blue team? And I thought that like there was no chance that I could go back to IMG. So I was like, I mean, that would be cool. Like I was kind of like, why are you calling me? Like I can't go back to IMG. Like it's cool, it's whatever. But he's like, no, like we have a spot for you. And I was like, bet. That weekend I flew down, and it's been a grind, it's been a journey ever since. Got into the season. I just started, I was grateful to be at IMG, and I just really started grinding and grinding and grinding. And there's a lot of opportunity at IMG, and you honestly just have to learn how to not only let IMG use you, but also how to use IMG to its fullest potential.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. I think I personally, that's where I lacked right there. I think you are the epitome of an IMG athlete and student. I mean, you took every advantage that school had to offer, and you never stopped working. And that school allowed you to work pretty close to 24/7. I mean, they would they would they would let you work 24/7. Like it was crazy, the support systems they had set up there and everything. And I think you took full advantage of that. How when you were let down, when your parents said you had to come home because you didn't make the blue team, uh, were you still at that point motivated? Uh, were you still working hard and basically preparing for your next season?
Yeah, it was hilarious actually to ask that question because what I told myself was, if I don't make it home, like if I have to go home next season, I'm running angry. Like I told myself, like if I don't make it to IMG, like when I get home, like I'm gonna just destroy the league that I'm in, right? And so when it was the fact that I went home, like I was pretty upset. I was pretty mad about that. But honestly, I just put all of that emotion into training and being like, okay, bet, like we're getting like a 2,000-yard season. Like I don't care. Like we're going stupid. Um, here. Not necessarily just because like it was like, oh, that's what I want to do. But I was pretty upset that I couldn't make it. But I would say that that upsetness, being upset, you know, it it did actually motivate me to go harder within that season. And then obviously getting the news that I was coming back, it also gave me that motivation to say like, you know what, I'm here. I got back. Now that I'm back, I can't waste this opportunity. And so, that's why we went hard when we got back to the school. I would also want to say on your one point when we were talking about just the network of IMG and the support system, like you tell those people your dreams and you show that you're working towards them, and they will literally push you towards them whether you want to or not. Because like you said, like I would agree with him that I was almost working like 24/7, but like working 24/7 gets very, very, very tiring. And there were times that I just wanted to stop. There were times that I did stop for like a week or two, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. But like because of the support that IMG does have, and they do offer their kids, when you show them like this is my dream and this is how hard I'm willing to work for it, they'll say like, "Yo, I know you're tired, but tighten up," you know. And so I honestly say like the contribute that shout out Mr. Potter, um, big contributor to where we're at right now.
The GOAT, Mr. Potter.
Go the goat himself. Shout out to Mr. DeRuiter as well.
Mr. DeRuiter is a
Go.
fantastic guy, director of college placement.
All right, Chandler. So when you were making the decision to go to IMG, was there any like hesitations, or like what kind of conversations did you have with your parents?
I'm a very independent kid. I was examples of that is like my brother and I used to fly to Houston to stay with our grandparents for like 2 months when I was like 5. So it wasn't really a thing of me, being like homesick or anything like that. I miss my friends a lot, but like homesickness wasn't really a problem for me. Um, the football team is a great, so I made new friends. So I didn't like I miss my friends, but new friends help you not miss your old friends. If that makes sense. Um, I think it was just a matter of like, hey, if we send you here, you're gonna take advantage of every single opportunity that's placed in your hand. It was one of those things of like, we're sacrificing to send you to this school. You need to sacrifice and take every advantage of everything that they throw at you.
Did you always did you always plan on going to an Ivy League, or was that just kind of a last minute thought?
No, actually. So my first choice was Stanford. I went to go to Stanford, and then my second choice was the University of Pennsylvania. Honestly, with my recruitment, I got the offer from the University of Pennsylvania my junior year, um, second semester in a practice. It was like my best practice at IMG. It was stupid. Like I never had a practice like that again. I tried to like finesse the coach and make him seem like every one of my practices were like this. But y'all know I caught like 3 touchdown passes, like had to run like 2 running touchdowns in practice. I was like, yeah, this is what we can do on a regular. You know how recruitment goes. But no, man, I got the Penn offer. Penn was my second offer. Um, and instead of really being grateful and trying to like just being grateful that I had the opportunity to really play at a D1 level at an Ivy League school. Um, you know, I really didn't take that for what it was. I was so obsessed with trying to go Power Five. I heard Aiden in the last episode talk about comparing yourself to guys. And honestly, like that's so dangerous because especially at IMG, you see all these guys going Power Five. You see a guy who just got there 2 weeks ago, and you've been there for like 2 years, get like 6 Power 5 offers, and you're over here like, yo, like where am I at? Um, but like honestly, like I honestly believe that UPenn is one of the best schools to go to because they help out their student athletes so much. They have specific programs, specific career like events for student athletes. Honestly, the Ivy League is one of the most. I honestly believe that if you're a student athlete that is competitive both on the field and in the classroom, the Ivy League is the best place for you to go because you can get the best education. You still have a chance to go to the league if you want to, and honestly, you have a chance to win a title. It's no disrespect to any of the other Power Five schools, but like Stanford's not going to be Alabama or Clemson for that for any type of championship. Vanderbilt isn't. Northwestern's not. Wake Forest isn't. Um. So I think it's the best thing it's the best school to go to if you want academics and the chance to win a ring.
So kind of touching up on recruitment advice, especially with the COVID-19 going on, what kind of advice do you have for kids who are in high school about going to colleges, looking at colleges, especially with COVID-19? I know the NCAA has granted everyone an extra year, sort of a redshirt year. And honestly, I have no idea how scholarships are going to work, especially if you have these kids that are set to graduate and be off the team next year, but if they stay, where do the scholarships go? So what kind of advice do you have for these kids who are looking to make it to the next level?
I would say just keep grinding, just keep working, just keep doing what you're doing that got you there, and just keep doing and trying to get better every day. Honestly, you know, this is a smoky period right now, and as good old Coach Mellon used to say, run through the smoke, you know, run through the smoke. So like that's what I gotta say. I mean, like times are really weird right now, and honestly, I don't even know how. Like as you said, like I don't even know how recruitment's gonna work. I just would say keep working on yourself, keep building yourself. Really, when it comes to recruitment, as I've kind of learned, like work on your speed, work on your size, work on your look. You know, recruitment is all about a coach taking a chance on you. I know a lot of guys say like it's about skill, it's about this. It's like, in my opinion, recruitment and like from what I've seen at IMG, recruitment is all about a coach wanting to take a chance on you, right? And so if you can present yourself as somebody that's a good bet, because honestly, it's a bet, right? They're going to give you they're giving you a full scholarship for most schools, right? They're giving you a full scholarship or a partial scholarship to go to their school and produce, right? So they're making a bet on you. They're gambling on you, right? And when they gamble on you, they're saying you're going to be a winning ticket. You're basically going to pay my salary, because if they don't get good recruits, they lose, they get fired, you know? So they're gambling on you, and you basically have to say, I'm worth taking that gamble on. So the more you make yourself, the more you present yourself and sell yourself to be somebody that's a winning ticket, the more recruitable you'll be as a person.
So Chandler, let's just do a hypothetical real fast. Let's say you're in high school right now and you don't have a season. Let's say you're in a state that is currently postponing football and you have aspirations to play college football. What would you do to make sure that your dream becomes reality in this hard time?
Right. First thing is I would have real expectations, you know. Not everybody's going to a Power 5 school, but it's the game of football. Football is a fun game, no matter if you're D1 or D3. It's the game of football. If you love the game of football, you love football as it is, you know. I would say, honestly, work on getting your grades up, you know. It honestly, you can literally play wherever you want if you can get into any school that you want to, you know. And that was one thing that I always told myself was like, even like say I wanted to go to Stanford or say I wanted to go to Northwestern, like okay, or Vanderbilt. Like I didn't get an offer from that school, but I was like, I'm not tripping. Like I have the grades to get into this school. So if I wanted to play here, I could. And there's literally like almost nothing that they could have done about it, you know? I would honestly just keep in contact with the coaches if you can, you know, look out for coaches, hit them up on Twitter, and honestly keep in contact with the coaches and figure out what the coaches would like you to do. Find schools that honestly match your skill. Talk to your coach. Talk to a coach that's realistic with you. Talk to people that are realistic with you to literally let you know, like, hey, like these are the schools that you can go to. Find those schools and talk to those coaches. Send them your film. Send them your stats, and really let them walk you through the process because those coaches will definitely have more information on. Or I would ask my coach like, hey, how is this gonna work? Um, because they would definitely have more information than any other person would have because you're trying to get into their school. So.
I agree. I think it's really important to create that a healthy relationship with the coach at the school, especially to getting to know him, and it's also allowing him to get to know you really well on a personal level. I think that's really important in the recruiting process as well.
Most definitely.
All right, Chandler, you are one of the strongest mentally individuals I've ever met. Mentally, you are a rock, a steel bar, if you will. Nothing breaks you. How did you develop that mindset, or is that just natural to you?
Everything has to be built, I would say. And honestly, for me, I would say that it goes back to my faith. You know, I'm a Christian. I believe in God, and so I honestly believe that like anything is possible through Him. So I would say that's definitely one of the biggest things. And then I would just say that like in my family atmosphere, we just grew up learning that like Magruders don't quit, you know. And so I would honestly just say that with those two aspects like behind me, one day I woke up and like, okay, this is a true story. Like I used to watch a bunch of Navy SEAL videos, right? And after watching a bunch of Navy SEAL videos, I realized that I didn't want to be a Navy SEAL because what they go through is really fun. Like at first I wanted to, and then I was like, nah, they're doing a lot, you know? But what I did learn was that I wanted the mentality that they had. I wanted that strong mental that they had. And so what I decided is that your mind is like a muscle. You have to train it. So I said, you know what? We're going to start building character. And we're going to build character by doing small things. We're going to purposely put ourselves in little uncomfortable situations that we know are going to make us better so we can build character. So, for example, for a month straight, I would say, like, okay, you know what? I'm going to wake up every day at this time and go run, whether I like it or not. I'm going to run a mile, I'm going to run 2 miles, right? Not necessarily just to get good cardio, but because if I go to bed at 11 p.m. one night and wake up at 6, I'm not going to want to do a run at 6 a.m. in the morning, right? Or 5:30 a.m. But the fact that I'm saying, even though I don't want to, I'm going to do this, you train your mind to do things that you might not want to do, but you do them anyways because you know it's good for you. And honestly, I would say that doing little things like that builds your mental. So then when something bigger comes into play, for example, school and studying, and you're like, man, I really don't want to watch this lecture. Man, I really don't want to study right now. You're already at the mental capacity to say, oh, well, let's get it done, you know?
Yeah.
So,
And I think from a that reward you get from that, you feel good
right,
about yourself.
right. It's called delayed gratification. You have to teach yourself to enjoy delayed gratification. To You have to teach yourself to not want things in the moment, but to invest and and get the reward on the back end. You know, IMG is just like that. You don't get a normal high school experience being at IMG. You know, everybody who goes to IMG will tell you that IMG is like a prison. The staff will tell you it's a very nice prison, and then the students will respond, "A prison is a prison, nice or not." You know, you don't get normal high school experiences at all. However, at the back end, you know, you're the starting kicker for Clemson. You know, like you get like what, 2 rings. You know, won the national championship, won a ball game.
Yeah.
You don't have a normal experience, but you meet all of these friends that are going big places, and you're going big places, and you have this wide net of connections that last you a lifetime. So delayed gratification is probably the biggest thing that will honestly get your mental to be stronger than most.
Yeah, and I think at IMG, when I was at my lowest point there, which is probably the lowest point in my life, really, when I started reading, because I was lost. And what did I turn to? I turned to books. I started reading a book a week. You can ask Aiden this. It's hilarious. I got so bored of video games, and I love video games. I'm a big gamer. I got so bored of video games, I started reading a book a week. And it's not that I like reading, it's that I needed to read. I
Right.
needed to learn.
So Chandler, you mentioned earlier that you are a pre-med major and that you would like to go on to medical school. What goals do you have for after college?
Right. So, yeah, I'll be majoring in neuroscience with a focus in pre-med and either trying to get my Chinese certificate or a Chinese minor. And then after college, I plan to be some type of doctor for the Air Force. Um, be able to do my doctor due diligence while traveling the world. I think that would be cool. Um, that's really the biggest one. Also, obviously playing football, I'm gonna give my shot at the league. I guess leagues now, NFL, XFL, CFL. I really don't care which one. A shot at the league would be nice. Um, and that's what we train for. That's what we grind for. And then really it's both of those things. It's like, okay, we get to the league, okay, cool. Then we're gonna do our doctor due diligence. And it's like, okay, we don't get to any of the leagues. Okay, cool. We're just gonna go straight into our doctor due diligence. So
Right. I think
either
that's
or.
a big, honestly, a big problem that a lot of college athletes have. They really don't set like a plan B in a way. They
Right.
like, oh, I want to go to the league. That's it. You gotta if the there's 1.7% of college athletes make it, or college football players make it to the NFL.
Right.
Very slim margin, and if you're lucky on those people, that's awesome. But you got to be realistic, man. You got to set that plan B, even plan C. Really have that set in the back of your mind of what you're going to do when football ends, because you really have no
Right.
idea when your time playing football can be over.
For real. Because I mean, even besides like maybe just not being able to make it for whatever reason, but like you never know what's gonna happen. You might not even finish your college career. You
Yeah.
know, um, anything can happen with the game of football. So like, how I like to think about it is like I don't know how to say this so that like the NFL are playing into the league, like to me, that's not even necessarily like if someone's asking me like, okay, what are the plans for your life? Like I don't even mention that necessarily as a plan because it's like I don't that's not something that you can plan, you know? It either happens, as you said, 1.7%. It either happens or it doesn't. And it's more likely that it won't happen than not. And so it's like I'm not gonna plan my whole life around something that has a 1.7% chance of happening, right? And that's not because I don't believe that I can be that 1.7, but it's because like it's because I want to use I want to go into college and I've gone into college knowing what I want to do. And so since I know what I want to do, starting now, I can use college and everything that's at the university. I can take advantage of everything that's at the University of Pennsylvania to allow me to reach the goals that I've set for myself in going to med school and working as a doctor for the Air Force, right? I can do all of that. But if I'm just going to college thinking, football, 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 NFL, 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 right? You're just in college to be in college, getting a degree that really doesn't mean anything. So even if football happens, when your football does end, now you're here in a void, like, oh, what do I do next? You know? So my suggestion to everybody listening to this is don't plan for something that has such a little. That's not a plan. Don't plan for something. Don't plan your whole life around something that will most likely not happen. Right? Plan your life around something that is very very secure. Plan your life around something that really is that's really dictated on whether you put in the work. Right? Because you might put in the work, but still might not make it to the league. You know, there's a lot of politics in making it to the league too. But plan your life around something that's dependent on whether you put in the work or not whether the coin flips on your side.
Yeah, exactly. And you're in college, so take advantage of college. Especially if you're getting paid to go to college,
Right.
uh, take advantage of that opportunity. One of the reasons why I'm in accounting, and it's a 5-year program here at Tulane, a major finance master's in accounting, is because I want to really help athletes in general eventually with managing their money. Being smart about their choices. That's one of the reasons why I'm taking this path is because you see a lot of these athletes, even if they do make it to the league, they eventually go broke. It's not smart choices. And also, if you're in college, that it's not too early for the athlete to make those financial decisions that are better in the end. Especially once the NCAA allows colleges to profit off themselves. What is your opinion on that, Chandler? This whole issue with athletes in colleges paying athletes.
I definitely think college athletes should get paid. I also think that with college athletes being paid, there needs to be a summer course because a lot of athletes are there for the summer. There needs to be a summer course about responsibly using your money, because as they say, like half of the league is broke. And that's like NBA, like it's like all leagues, all professional leagues, like half of those people are broke because they get their money and they spend it on cars and houses and chains. And then taxes come and it's like, oops. And then, you only get paid during the season. So it's like, oops again, you know? So I honestly think that it's definitely a good idea to allow athletes to profit off their name because from not only does it stop athletes from getting money, like if they're blowing up in college and getting money off of there, but like it also stops athletes from making money in other creative ways, like starting a YouTube channel, like it stops those creative things of other athletes.
Do you think that colleges should pay them for playing, or do you think that athletes should just profit off their name, essentially? Should be able to profit off their name?
I mean, that's something for each college to decide, to be honest. I honestly just I think the first stepping stone is to let athletes use their name
Yeah.
for marketing. One second.
Yeah.
I agree. I think with not having student athletes being able to profit off their image and likeness, I feel like it's sort of handcuffing them, not allowing them to sort of reach their full potential in a way. And I think it really needs to change.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing it going to start changing very, very soon. All right, guys, thank you so much, Chandler, for joining us. It's been a real pleasure having you on, talking to you again finally. You're a very special person. I wouldn't be surprised if you make it to the league in some way, shape, or form, just because of your motivation and your work ethic. Look for Chandler in the future, whether it's the league, being a doctor. But Chandler will achieve his goals. That is one thing I know about Chandler. Those goals will happen. His work ethic is insane. His mindset is insane. Thank you, Chandler. We hope to have you on again soon. And that's going to wrap it up for the Specialist Podcast number 2. Thank you all.